Time for a 6-month review. All right, guys. If you don't know me, my name is Tyler. Welcome to Upper Left Adventures. I picked up this Lone Peak on March 5th. Today is August 31st. I'm going to be out of town next weekend, or I would have shot this in a week, but this is my 6-month update with the Lone Peak. It's been pretty used and abused over the last 6 months. I think I've slept in it 40-something nights total. We go out probably every other weekend for 2 or 3 nights. Sometimes by myself, sometimes with JT and Jim, sometimes with my brother. My brother and his kids are with me. If you hear some kids in the background, but I asked on the Facebook group, on Instagram, what you guys wanted to know about the camper after 6 months. So if you guys aren't on Facebook, any of the Facebook groups, there's 2 that I'm on, 3 technically. One I made way before anybody else did, but I didn't take off and I really didn't promote it around. So I'm part of the Lone Peak Overland group, which is ran by Lone Peak. And then I'm a moderator on Lone Peak Overland Owners, which is ran by owners of the Lone Peak. And that's when I post most of my stuff onto. Just I try to post on non-owned owners group when I can, just so nothing gets messed with. We drove up here to Lonesome Lake area. This is a camp spot that I've camped at a few times, overlooking the valley. You can actually see a fire lookout off in the distance here. But let's get onto the Facebook group. I posted a couple days ago. Let's go all comments here, and let's just go through the list. So take a look at the tent and see how material is holding up. Look for loosening of bolts and hardware, from hinges to hardware that holds the tent. How fast is wear and tear happening? That's from Adrian. So I have, right after I got the camper, I had some issues with some loose bolts. I went through and retightened all of the Allens on the camper. Quite a few of them, almost every single one of them was loose. That was about 4.5 months ago I tightened those, and I haven't had any issues since. As of the tent holding up, I haven't had any issues lately. Everything I've had issues with, I've posted in videos. We'll go over more of that in depth when we move into the inside of everything. Tent material, I already have patched 3 holes on the tent. I don't know what it's from. I don't know if it's something that I did or if it's something that's messing with the tent material when it's closed up. I'll show you guys when we move inside. One of them I haven't patched, just so I could show you guys before I threw a patch over it. And then the other 2 are towards the front of the camper. I don't sleep with anything sharp, and I don't leave anything set up in the camper when I tear down, so I'm not sure if it was hitting sides or if it got caught on the hinges or anything, but we'll go over that. So far, wear and tear though, nothing really major to report. A few people have messaged me. I had issues with the passenger side of the camper moving in and the door gaps basically closing on the passenger side. I remedied that. I actually reached out to Keisha and got a third set of pucks. And what I did was I put them as far back as I could. I actually drilled into my bedside and put rib nuts, and then I'm not actually using any J hooks. I've just got bolts ran directly where the bolts go to push out. If your pucks are away from the bed, just to keep it sturdy, I actually used those bolt holes and bolted the pucks directly to the bedside. And that was 2.5 months ago, and I haven't had any issues with the sides moving in since then. I can close the door here and show you guys, but it's fairly even on both sides. The driver's side definitely is still a little bit larger, but I haven't had the issue of the passenger side moving in. And I'll show you guys that up close when we get back into the camper. I just don't want to move the camera right this second because I've got it in a pretty decent spot. I'll add on to Adrian's point and say, how does the camper as a whole appear to be holding up? Same thing. I haven't had any issues. I've been down some pretty gnarly roads, some pretty high-speed gnarly roads, and I haven't really noticed any issues with the camper itself. Nothing that's actually fallen apart. I've caught everything beforehand. Asked, you don't have a roof fan, if I remember correctly. Thoughts on condensation and how to deal with it. What accessories do you think are essential? We'll go over the accessories at the end of this video. We'll go over every accessory Lone Peak offers and my thoughts on each and every one of those and if they're worth the money. I did not get a roof fan. Originally I ordered one. My camper order was $164. I got a call about 2 months early. They had a customer, I don't know, change the order or change his vehicles after the camper was built. And so they called me and said, hey, you're the next in line with the Colorado, 5-foot Colorado. Do you want this camper? And part of that was not being able to get a roof fan because the camper was already built and the customer didn't have a roof fan. So I ended up not getting a roof fan, but almost every other option I wanted was already on the camper. Essential accessories are all that Tyler makes. I do make a lot of accessories for the Lone Peak. I appreciate all you guys. I sell them on Etsy. That'll be linked down in the description. I'm going to go through at the end when I go through the Lone Peak accessories. I also go through everything that I make for the campers. And how do you deal with bugs and mosquitoes in particular? I've seen others put magnetic screens to cover the rear tailgate, but looking for other options. Is there a way to cover the pass-through area to the bed similar to GFC's? Which has an enclosed space when all the doors are open. There's a major reason why I didn't go with Go Fast Camper. I didn't want it closed off. I live up in the PNW, and mosquitoes are pretty gnarly here 6 months of the year. That's one thing I enjoy about camping in the wintertime is not dealing with the bugs. I don't really do much of anything for the bugs. I just keep the camper closed up for the most part. One thing I do use, but I actually use a thermosil. And I actually picked up this on Amazon. Everything I have in the video I'll link down in the description on Amazon so you guys can easily find it. We'll go over my interior build just so people have an updated view on that. I haven't changed much of anything. But one of my major things is a thermosil. I use not the rechargeable ones because half the time I forget to charge batteries. This is just the one that takes the butane cartridges and the fabric top cartridges. One setup. I bought this thermosil 2 years ago, and I'm still on my first kit of refills that I bought when I bought the thermosil. Another thing I use is a rechargeable bug zapper. Like I don't know if you guys can see or not, but it's got the blue light. It also has an LED built off the back of it that rotates if you really want a light, but I've never used that. And it's got a solar panel on top, so if I don't have anywhere to charge it, I can just set it out and it actually charges up pretty easily. I set this up in the camper after I close everything up. When I come in to go to bed, I actually set this up and hang it by one of the windows and let it run for about a half hour, 45 minutes to get any of the bugs that I've actually made it into the camper, which usually isn't a whole lot. There's still quite a few in here, but I just hang this inside the camper and it takes care of almost all the bugs that come inside. And then I always have a fan running on the inside when I'm at camp. This is a Claymore fan I picked up, I don't know, a year and a half ago. I'm a hot sleeper and I like to be cold when I sleep. So this is always running even in the wintertime, circulate air that keeps circulation in the tent and helps a lot. And it's a little tiny bit of white noise. It's a pretty quiet fan, so it doesn't make a whole lot of white noise like my old fan did. Not sure if you have the diesel heater port option, but I want to know about that and the whole diesel heater setup. I'll add that here in when we go over accessories. I do have a diesel heater port. I wouldn't own one without. I use a diesel heater probably 5 to 6 months a year. Is it comfortable sleeping with the head at the wedge side? Will you bump your head laying down and getting up? How close are your feet to the access space to get down? Your height as reference. I'm 6'3", 6'4" on a good day, 275. So I'm a bigger guy. I actually don't sleep with my head down at the wedge. I've never really even thought about that, but I don't like things like super close to my head. So I actually sleep with my feet towards the wedge. I wear a size 15 feet, so my feet are huge. I actually just recently, when we go over to the inside stuff, just last week, I actually finally moved the bed about 4 inches towards the pass-through space. And that actually allowed me to go from having to sleep diagonally so my feet didn't hit the roof to I can actually sleep straight. So I can sleep with 2 people up there now. That was one downside. My brother, I don't know if you guys can see him in the background, but he's actually got my old wedge tent. I could never sleep laying straight, even diagonally in my wedge tent. I would still hit my feet on the roof. Bed ladder versus side ladder, and would you pick the same options again or pick the other? Originally, I ordered the camper with a bed ladder, but I actually deleted that on my confirmation call with Keisha. I don't need a ladder on the inside because I have a full interior built out in here. And even if I didn't, I would rather have a step stool. Everybody that has it has either removed the ladder or says that they ram their head on the thing all the time getting in and out of the camper. Outside ladder, I guess, would be useful for those that have people sleeping on the lower platform. I know quite a few of the guys in the group take their whole family out and their kids sleep down below. So that would be useful for those. I've thought about adding a side ladder because I actually have a roof box on the camper that I keep my recovery gear in. It's kind of a pain to get into. I have to get up on my tire, and I can still barely see into the cover or the case itself. So down the road, I might add a bed ladder option. I'll just do that myself. Ladders are fairly inexpensive. They're about $100 for a pretty good quality one. I've upgraded a few of my tents with some good ones off of Amazon. I'll link those down below. My build is due in October, so I'd like to know what I have to do to prepare my truck bed for the installation of roof tonneau bed liner. I'd like to see how-tos on how to connect electrical to truck for charging while driving and how to connect with 120 when it's available. I'm not going to do a how-to in this video. 12-volt wiring is one of the things that I actually enjoy, so 12-volt wiring is very easy for me. But I could do a video if you guys really want to about my whole electrical system. I have 200 amp hours of lithium in here. I have a 40 amp DC to DC charger, a 2000 watt inverter, and I think it's a 30 amp solar controller. I run all Renogy stuff in this setup. I have all Victron stuff in my trailer. I prefer the Victron stuff over the Renogy, but I went each one just to see if I liked one over the other. I definitely like the Victron, at least their user interface. The Renogy user interface for the phone apps is absolutely trash. I have to reconnect my phone to it every time. The Victron one, I just open the app, and once I get close to my trailer, it instantly connects to it. I've never had an issue with the Victron stuff. To get your truck prepared, I think if you have a drop-in bed liner, they want that out. No tonneau covers. You've got to basically have a naked bed. To prepare, I pulled off. I got on the forums to see what the common issues were with the Colorados, but it's pretty easy to get the bed caps off. I pulled those off and basically pumped the bed caps full of Sikaflex, and then I put the bed caps back on, so I didn't have any dust or water intrusion over the front. Along the front edge of the bed on this truck, there's a decent gap on the top corners. I just Sikaflexed those, so I didn't have any issues there. And then on the Colorados, up underneath the bed rails on both ends, there's pretty hefty holes. I think that's how the mice were getting into my camper when I first got the camper. I filled those with steel wool, not actually steel wool. I used copper wool. I used that so it didn't rust, and I haven't had any issues with that since. Down the road, I might like spray foam maybe in there if I really have any issues. Other than that, I didn't really prep the bed. I got everything cleaned out before I went. I added a tailgate seal to help with dust intrusion. Still get quite a bit of dust in here. We'll go over that as well with the positive air pressure vent. Like how to wash it without ruining the finish of the panels. That's impossible. The finish they have on these panels is not good. It's very touchy. You barely touch it and you scratch it. My camper is completely covered in scratches. It would be better if they were powder coated, or if they use some kind of, I don't know, some kind of textured coating would help definitely. I'll be wrapping the camper when it gets bad enough, but all my sides are pretty scratched up now. Build quality, already kind of went over that. How much snow can be on the roof closed and open before weight becomes an issue? Whatever they say that the load bearing capacity is on the roof bars, I would assume is okay with the roof. I don't know. I don't work for Lone Peak. And I have had my camper since March. I've camped in the snow, but I haven't camped while it's snowing because snow sticks around some parts in Washington here until pretty late in the season. Like sometimes in the middle of June, I'll run into places with snow. Let's see here. How does it stand up to the P&W elements and build quality, fit and finish, ease of use? Ease of use is awesome. You saw when I got into camp, it takes all of 30 seconds to set up camp. Build quality, I think, is pretty on par with all the campers out there. There's a few things that they needed to work on right when they first came out, but it seems they've fixed a lot of those issues. P&W Elements, I've camped in some pouring rain and I haven't had any water intrusion while I'm set up camp. I have had water intrusion along the front right after I got the camper. It seems to have stopped a little bit after I tightened all of the Allen bolts, but we'll see when we get back into the rainy season when we're actually camping in the rain on how that does. But I've camped in some pretty heavy rainstorms and I haven't had any water intrusion through the tent or anything. Quality workmanship, ease of setup, bed quality, additional accessories that are must-haves. Quality workmanship, it's pretty good. There was a few issues when I picked up the camper that they kind of half-ass fixed. There was a ding in one of the corners of the side doors. They kind of just bent it over. It doesn't really bother me, but you could definitely tell that it was damaged. I believe they fixed the issues on the rear windows, but I haven't had it fixed yet. The acrylic is cracking along the edges. I think Keisha said it was something to do with the thermal cycling of the metal and the acrylic. So they've fixed that issue. I think they've just opened up the gap a little bit more on the sides. So I've still got a schedule to go over and get that replaced. People that are out of town, I know they've sent them replacement doors to do themselves. So if you're not somewhat local to Lone Peak, I think they'll ship you a door. Waterproofness, impact of condensation without having the fan, accessories you regret not buying. I've only had condensation issues one time. That's when it was 110 degrees during the day and it was like down in the 40s at night. I had quite a bit of condensation on the roof, but I just wiped it down with a towel before I left camp. Other than that, I haven't had any condensation issues. When it's cold out, I usually always rock the diesel heater, which just basically packs the camper full of warm air, and that keeps condensation down. I think that's it for the questions. Let me pull up my notes here. Lone Peak accessories, juice box, and with the lighting $800. Juice box by itself is $300. Juice box is fairly okay. If I was to order the camper again, I would not get the juice box. I'd actually just install my own auxiliary switch, like an aux beam or like a S-Tech switch or a Switch Pros. It's pretty decent for what it is. I think the two big downfalls of the Lone Peak juice box is that the buttons are already labeled. They come pre-labeled. You can't get them blank. You can't add your own labels over them. I'm actually in the process of designing replacement buttons that you can put labels on from like a Switch Pros switch system. And then the other big thing is the brightness of the backlighting of the buttons is way too bright. If you have anything on at night, it completely lights up the inside of the tent. And I've reached out a couple times and I've kind of just fallen on deaf ears there to see if they could update the firmware to where you can dim or turn off the backlighting of the buttons. So that's another big reason why I am redesigning the buttons so that you can black them out. The power light is constantly on while you have it. I make a replacement fuse cover that covers the power light so that's not blinding in the middle of the night. But the tailgate and the tent lights, to me, are worth the price. It's nice being able to switch between colors, the white and the amber, and the dimness adjustment is also awesome. I use that quite a bit. I don't think that the lights dim enough at night though. It's still pretty bright in there, even on the dimmest setting when you're on the ambers. Light bar with port. They charge $800 for the light bar on the front, $100 if you just get the port by itself. I can't speak on the light bar. I don't have one. I don't think it's worth the money, but some people might. It's kind of pointless to run it to the juice box. If you ask me, that should be ran off an auxiliary switch inside the vehicle, ran to your alternator and your actual battery. And the port, the wiring port is just a basic solar wiring port, a single one actually. Is it worth $100? If you're not comfortable drilling into your own Lone Peak and installing it, then yes, it's definitely worth it. But if you're any competency level with a drill and a drill bit or a small hole saw, they're super easy to do yourself and you can do it for 20 bucks. Rear lights and side lights, I can't speak on either of those. I have my own installed. I use Baja Design rock lights for rear lights and side lights. I have them wired to the juice box, or no, I don't have them wired to the juice box. I have them wired to my auxiliary switch in my truck because I use a Switch Pros 8 gang switch panel, so I can turn them on via my phone or in the truck. I use them for scene lighting and night lights when I need them. I can't speak on the Lone Peak ones for 250 bucks. It's not a terrible deal because they come pre-wired and they're already installed and everything. So I'm into that. I'm into my Baja Design lights quite a bit more than that. They're $60 a piece. And I've got 2, 4, 6, 8. I've got 8 of them on the camper. Power plate with a 100 watt inverter, 30 amp DC to DC and solar charger for $800. 100 amp hour battery is another $800, so $1,600 total. If you're not comfortable with 12 volt wiring, it might be worth it to some. It is a lot cheaper to do it yourself. I think I'm into my 200 amp hour battery, like $250, and then I'm into my inverter, my DC to DC charger, and my solar controller, another couple $100. The stuff's really not that expensive, and it's fairly easy to do yourself. But like I said, if you're not comfortable with 12 volt wiring, then it might be worth it to you. You'll have to weigh your options on that. Solar panels are $400 each. Wiring ports are also $100 each. So you're looking at $800 for 2 solar panels. Again, there's a lot cheaper options on the market, but it is nice to already have them installed and wired if you're not comfortable with your own 12 volts. I have my own solar panels I installed. I used to rock rigid panels, and I switched over to panels that are mounted directly to the camper. I'm running 2 100 watt Bouge RV flat panels, flexible panels that I taped to the roof, and they've been holding up great. I don't use solar very much because I don't stay at camp more than one day. So my DC to DC charger keeps my batteries charged. But when the truck's sitting stationary, because my fridge stays in here running all the time, the solar keeps the batteries topped off of that. Cab windows, acrylic. When I ordered my camper originally, the windows were included. That was a big selling point to a lot of people. Now you have to pay $250 for the rear and $250 for the front, so another $500. Again, that's if it's something that piques your fancy, go for it. Um, I can't see out my back of my truck with the camper on and with my swing out and everything, so the windows are kind of pointless. I do have the pass-through window. I did not pay for that. That came on my camper. It was an option that was already on the camper that I was not going to buy. They gave it to me for free because it wasn't something that I really cared about. I have a Mole panel up front, so I can't drop the window down anyways. And the pass-through on a Colorado is like 10 inches, so the pass-through window doesn't really do anything for me, so I've actually never used it. Mine does leak a little bit of water there sometimes, so keep that in mind. It's not fully sealed. It's kind of just the way the design is. There's not really a whole lot you can do about that to fix it. It leaks through the actual window. Um, so keep that in mind if you live in a wet climate. Some people wanted it because the whole window folds down to clean the back cab window. That's really not a huge deal to me. If I need to, I'll just reach it back there with a wand and a rag to clean my windows. So is it worth the $500? That's going to be up to you guys if you guys really want to pass through. I don't think it's worth the money. Over a gear vault, $600 for the gear vault, $700 if you get the drop down table. I have never used a drop down table. I dropped it down when I bought it to show people on my review video when I first got the camper. I have never once used my interior table. Part of that is because I have a full interior built in this thing, so I have no use for it. It stays on there. Um, but the gear vault itself, I think, is worth it. It's nice having the storage from the outside. I keep a lot of gear in there. I'll go over that when we go over all my stuff that I make, because I actually have one of my accessories on my gear vault. The Mole panel, I don't use it for a Mole panel. I just use it for a metal plate to put magnetic things on. Again, if you've got stuff to mount to Mole panels, it's going to be worth the money. 120 bucks is not terrible for already powder coated and cut to size Mole panel. Load bars. You can't use aftermarket load bars with the camper the way Kyle designed. The channels aren't vertical; they're at an angle. You have to use their T-nuts. We'll get into that in a little bit. I have the low ones. If you have the vent fan, you'll need the tall ones. I just have one set. I have my recovery gear and my Max Tracks mounted up there, so I think it's worth the money if you need load bars. Grab handles are $75 for a set of two. I have 4 handles. A few people have posted, and I'm also having the issue. There's some kind of coating on the outside of the handles that's coming off. I don't know if they fixed that on the recent ones, but my handles are sticky and dirt and mud sticks to them pretty bad. I use them all the time, though, so they're definitely worth the $150 for all 4 of them. And if you ever plan on taking your camper off, it's nice to have them because you can hang the camper from them. Ladders we already talked about. Awning mounts. I have 2 awning mounts, one on the front, one on the back. Some people rock 3 or 4 awning mounts. I think it's pointless. I have an OVS awning. It's one of the heaviest awnings on the market. I think it's like 75 or 80 pounds. I've had it on since I got the camper. I have no issues with it. And I run it 85, 90% of the time without any legs. Roof vent fan. There's been quite a few people that have had leaking issues. I'm glad I don't have it now that I haven't had it in 6 months. I can install it myself. I actually found the vent fan that they have installed, and I think it's $120 on Amazon. So if you're comfortable cutting your own hole in the roof, you can save a couple of bucks. It's $400, and that comes pre-wired. And I think you have to have the juice box and the wiring. If you end up getting the vent fan, you have to have all that as well. If you live in a hot climate, a lot of people love it that live in a warm climate. Some people have lost the cover for it because you have to have the vent cover open from the front, because when the camper is open and it rains, if you have it open from the back, the rain's just going to go right in. I don't know about longevity of them. A lot of vent fans don't last very long when they're mounted at an angle, and you're obviously on the roof, so it's going to be running at an angle. So we'll see how longevity of the bearings hold up. But I have no regrets on not having one. Diesel heater port, definitely worth it. $400 is a little steep, but I use it all the time. I make accessories for that as well. Camper lock set, 30 bucks for the lock pins. They've been out of stock forever. I have a set. I have never used them. They didn't fit. They told me that I needed to drill the hole out a little bit bigger, which is something that should have been done at the factory, not something that I should be doing. But I've never locked any of my tents, and I've never had issues with people getting into my tents. So they just sit in the center console of my truck. Channel covers, set of 5 for $10. Definitely worth it, especially if you plan on doing anything on the inside or outside with wiring. I run a lot of my wiring through the channels, and then the channel covers just snap into place. I mean, it's 10 or it's $10. That's definitely worth it. Lone Peak channel nuts, 10 of them for $5. I tell people just to get a couple packs of them when you get your camper, just to have. I think I've ordered probably over 1,000 of them now, because I sell them with my accessories that I sell on Etsy. You can order them with or without the mounting hardware. Um, I've had 2 break on me, and that was on the load bars. That was factory ones that they put in. I've never had any of my other ones break though. They're like a cast stainless steel, so they're pretty brittle, but they're pretty strong. So you got to crank on them pretty hard to break them. That's it for the Lone Peak accessories. So for stuff that I offer, we'll have to walk around for these things. This is the quick connect that I make. This goes over the Lone Peak, and it locks in. There's a hole here for the lock screw. You screw it in from the inside, and that locks it on. After my first trip out, I designed these because there's only like a 1/2-inch lip here, and I don't know if you guys can see how big my hands are. But it's almost impossible for me to get in there and tighten a hose clamp on this. So I designed this so this just stays on the hose. You just clip it on here and then screw it in from the inside, and it stays on there. It's printed out of polycarbonate, so it holds up to the heat of the heater. My locks for the doors. So you can lock these camper doors from the outside and then close yourself in. Lone Peak designed their latches so you could open them from the inside. Problem with this is you can't access this one on the back because of the juice box is in the way. You can't get to the lock at all, so that's worthless. Can't get to it on this side because the gear vault covers it on one side, and I can't get to mine on this side because of the way I have my interior built. So I actually came up with these simple 3D printed locks. They're printed out of PETG. They're printed solid. I got magnets on them, so I actually just keep them stuck to my gear vault so I don't lose them. These just slide over. See if I can get you guys here. These just slide over the latch, and that keeps the latch from opening. You can see here the opening is, this goes down to open. This just slides over the latch, and that keeps that from going down. So now it's completely locked. You can't get at it, and then you just pull it off, and you can get out easy. Cover. I had a few people ask me about wire cover. Kyle said he was going to come out with one. Here we are 8 months later and nothing. So I designed this. It's just simply 3D printed out of, I print this out of carbon fiber, both of these out of carbon fiber PETG. So they've got a dual finish, so they're not super shiny like everything else. This just kind of slides over and goes on with one bolt. And then the fuse covers I replaced. It has this little ear here that drops down that covers, I have a little pinhole so you can see it, but the power light stays on all the time, and I wanted to cover that. So this just replaces a fuse cover. You can get a blank or one with mountains on it, and it just screws on with the Lone Peak factory thumb screws here, and it just covers that light so it dims it down at night. Wolf box inside mount. I make these to mount a wolf box. I've got a wolf box rear view mirror camera. My rear view mirror is replaced with that. So this just mounts a wolf box looking out the window. I also have one for the exterior for those that don't have a rear window. That just double sides tapes onto the camper. Close clips. I think I have one on this side. Yeah, these are 3D printed out of PETG. These are just to hang up wet clothes or whatever. I used to have one inside to hang my jacket. I'll put one back in there in wintertime. But they're just pressure fit printed design. So you just slide a piece of clothes up there and it just works kind of like an old school clothespin. USB mount, cup holder, phone mount, handle covers. 3D print these at a TPU. They have magnets embedded. This is one of the new ones that I have with the larger magnets. They don't use waterproof lock cylinders. I have no clue why. And they don't have waterproof handles either. They have holes under the handles. I had water coming in the day I brought the camper home. So this is the very first thing I actually designed for the campers. Some people had issues with the first generation. I had these small magnets, only one in the middle here. And some people had issues with it. My rear and my other side still have the original ones. I put this one on just so I could take pictures for my Etsy for the new one. This one has 2 larger magnets on the top to hold it down. Everybody that's had issues in the prior design has not had issues with the larger magnets. While I'm over here, these are the light mounts that I make. I make them for the Baja Design lights and for the Ironman lights. These are the bottle openers I make for the campers. I keep one of my hooks on the outside of the camper. I actually hang a trash bag from here sometimes. I also hang wet clothes from here when we're outside. I make these rain gutters. These keep the water. If you have any kind of rooftop tent, you know that water comes off the edges up here, goes right into your window, whether it be the rear door or the front door. These bolt onto the channels, and they collect that water, and they actually put them up over your cab, and it goes down your windshield, so it doesn't go into your windows anymore. This is probably one of my favorite things I designed, because I keep my windows open all the time, and this keeps water from coming inside the cabin. And then I just came out with these like a week and a half ago. These are the diesel heater mounts. They mount up underneath the channels here, and you can hang. This is a full 5 kilowatt diesel heater with a full tank of fuel, and I've also put an additional 20 pounds of my tool roll on here, and I've had no issues with these hangers. And they remove, and I'll show you guys on this side here real quick. This is what the mounts look like that stay on the camper, and then those mount arms just slide into the top and lock. And then I also sell awning strap anchor points. I have one here, and I also have one here. These are just to keep, you want to keep your awning straps as horizontal as possible. So if you strap them to your arm, you can't use the doors, and then it pulls down on the awning. You don't want that. You want to pull straight across when you can. So I designed these. And then while we're out here still, this is my Gear Vault drop-down table that I designed. I actually have this manufactured by somebody else. The price on this is pretty steep. It's $175 for the kit. I only do 10 at a time. I've been sold out for a couple of months, and I have a few people reaching out to me asking me about when I'm going to be making new ones. So that's something we're probably going to look into pretty soonish, is to order another 10 of these. This just bolts on to the holes that are already on the Gear Vault. And then it just comes with the brackets and all the hardware. You have to supply your own wood, because shipping, this makes shipping like 10 times the price as shipping a piece of wood this long. This is the same width as the Gear Vault. This is the shortest Gear Vault that Lone Peaks makes. They make 3 different versions. Full size and tall Tacomas all have more room here, so you can actually put a bigger piece of wood if you want to. So the kit comes with just the arms, comes with this 3D printed bracket up here with the bungee already attached, and then it comes with this attachment down here for the bungee. So when you're all done with it, you can just pull it up, and the bungee keeps it seated fully. I use this all the time because I have my Lone Peak Gear Vault stuff packed to the brim with straps and tire stuff and tools. So that allows me to lay out stuff on here. And then I think everything else is on the inside of the camper, so we'll move on the inside, and I'll get up with you guys here in just a second. All right, guys, we're inside the camper now. We'll go over a few things I do for the inside here. So I have these phone mounts that I make. Originally, I had made this in one solid piece, and I realized I figured it'd be nice if you could keep your USB cord on there when you pull it off and put it on if you're charging your phone. So I just made it so you guys could lift it out, put it in. This fits basically every phone that I could find. This is my diesel heater mount that I make. I keep my diesel heater controller in here all the time because I actually have it wired to the diesel heater port. This I have on my store there. So I get that back in there. What else do I make for you guys here? The cup holder and the junk holder. This is designed to fit thermoflask, or whatever those are called, hydro flask. Those are designed to hold a hydro flask. The reason it looks like an ashtray, I actually made that so you could hang your keys, because if you put your keys in there, then you'd have no room for whatever you want to store. I think I have this listed as a cup and junk holder. So I put that so you can have your keys there, and you can put whatever you want in here. There's actually one of my clothes clips is the one I keep inside. Let's see here. What else do we make? Here's another one of my hooks. I keep one of my, I have 2 hooks. I have the long hook, which is this one, and then I have a short hook, which is this one. I usually hang my my dirty clothes bag from this so I can get it from the outside when I get home. Dust killer vent doesn't work. I mean, I'll be truthful with you guys. Like I said, I have no attachment to Lone Peak itself. I don't have an associate, or I don't have a link to get a discount or anything. I didn't want anybody to think that I was in on trying to make money from them, so I didn't sign up for any of that stuff. The dust killer vent, as far as I'm concerned, doesn't work. Maybe it does. It just doesn't work great. Every time I'm on a dusty trail, I've got this whole area is covered in dust. And then I can show you guys up top. I don't know if you guys can see, but way up in the corners on both sides, I've got a bunch of dust that comes in while I'm on trails, so it's definitely not sealed 100%. It's sealed enough. That doesn't bother me. That's easy to wipe up. That was an extremely dusty trail, 2 days of driving just in straight dust. Another thing I offer is don't worry about the phone holder. I do not offer that. That's designed for my phone specific. But what that USB is mounted to there, if it's light enough for you guys, it's just a T-channel mount to mount to USB port, kind of like they have from the factory. That's one thing they forgot to install in mine. I didn't realize till I got home they forgot to install my USB, so I had to install that by itself. And I use it all the time until last week when I moved my bed back, and now I don't have access to that one, which is fine because I still have that one. And then I'm just going to put another one probably a little bit further back from that. Factory mattress is not comfortable, at least not for me. I'm a side sleeper. Like I said, I'm 275, 6'3", 6'4". It just killed my back every time I slept on it. I tried to use an X-Ped. I used to have an X-Ped in the tent that my brother actually has now. That was the most comfortable mattress I ever slept on. I ordered another one when I got the camper, and it was the most uncomfortable mattress I ever slept on. It was worse than the Lone Peak one. It went flat all the time. So I returned it to REI, and for a Labor Day sale, I picked up the Hest. This is actually be the first night I've been sleeping on the Hest mattress. It's actually the perfect width. The width on the mid-size beds for the Lone Peak is 50 by 80. This is 50 by 78, so I lose 2 inches in length, which is not a huge deal because I don't need that long of a bed. I'm going to put my, I have my bed sheet inside the truck, so I'm going to swap that on before I go to bed tonight. Let's see here. Like I said, I did move the bed back. It's fairly easy. Best way to go about it, I think Kyle did a video on this, but I just pulled the shocks off the mounts, loosened the bolts and moved the mounts back, and then I left the shocks disconnected. I put the bed down. I crawled up to the front. There's one bolt on each corner on the front of the bed. I loosened those two, and it's easy. You just pull the bed back. I made sure it was centered left to right on the ends. I kind of just looked at the gap on both sides and centered it. And then I crawled back up there, tightened the front, lifted it up, put the struts back on, and I haven't had any issues with it. That was about 2 weeks ago that I did that. And then my interior build, I'm gonna finish setting up for camp to get everything out of the way, and then I'll go over my interior build on what I've done on the inside and what I do differently and what I might change next year. Oh yeah, one thing I was going to show you guys the damage to the tent that I have so far. Let's see if we can see it. It's not very bright because we're up in the trees now. Oh, there it is. All right, I don't know if you guys can see this or not, but there's a tear right here. There's nothing in line with that at all in my camper. I don't know where that came from. And then I already patched 2 of them, but you guys can see right here, I've got a patch. There was another tear there, and then I don't know if you guys can see right there, but I got a tear where that patch is right there as well. So I've got 3 total now in 6 months. I'm not sure what's up with that. I don't know. They use zip ties to put the wiring up. And I don't know if the zip ties caught tent fabric or what. So that's one downside, but you know, it is what it is. I expected to have a lot of issues with this tent because I was one of the first people to order and receive their tents. They fixed a lot of the issues I've had now. You guys can go back in the past on the issues I've had with the seal. When I first got it, wasn't sealed. They were trying to give me back the camper, and I looked at Kyle. I said, hey, this I can see daylight through the underside of the camper. So they spent a couple hours trying to get that dialed in, and they never really got it fixed. So I replaced the seal myself and got that all dialed in. Another thing I make, if you guys use a geyser, I just made this quick mount that this slides into. Keeps it up in my area there. I don't know if you guys are interested in this. I made this just to hold my thermometer and my hydrometer. That just clips onto the side there. You guys can't really see it, but you can see my rear puck here. This is the one that Lone Peak installed, and this is one I installed that I have mounted directly to the bed. This is just hard mounted. Like I said, it's bolted right into the bedside. If you guys ever have anything that you run into that you guys wish you had for the camper, you can reach out to me. That's how like the cup holders came to be. Somebody reached out, so they wanted a cup holder for the inside because they don't have an interior built up like mine. So I designed that, and that's been actually pretty popular. Phone mount I needed, so I designed that. And same with I had a few people ask me about the wire covers, the rain gutters. I had planned on making them at some point, but I had quite a few of you guys reach out and ask me about designing and making rain gutters. So I designed those, and those have been pretty popular. It's been pretty slow this summer, but it's because it's summer. Once the rain starts, I think people realize that they're a lifesaver. I have a few people that have asked me about my rear taillight replacement. I'll link his Etsy store in my comments. BZ Shop something. Sorry, I'm brain farting right now, but that's where I got my rear light from. I actually redesigned it for myself and printed one out for myself that didn't have bolt holes. But he is the one I originally bought my first one from. It's a little bit different, but it's basically the same. So I'll link his stuff. It's not something that I offer for sale. Let's see. I think that's it. I'm gonna check in with you guys tomorrow after I wake up on if I think the Hest was worth the price. There was a huge deal for Labor Day. It was like 25% off, which is why I ended up getting it. But I'm hoping that'll be the ticket here for a comfortable mattress. But only time will tell. And then, oh yeah, let me get cleaned up here real quick, and we'll go over my interior build, what I think was worth it, and what I think I'll probably change on the next one. There's a few things that I don't like about my interior now that I want to change. So let me get that all set up, and then I'll be back with you guys here in just a few minutes. All right, guys, this is my usual interior. Let's see if I can show you guys here. So basically, I've just got a tabletop here that I can cook on if I need to. I have a sink if I need to wash my hands at nighttime or brush my teeth or whatever. It's just a dog bowl that I recessed. I cut a Ray Charles hole here that this just sits into. My Dometic water jug, faucet goes in here. This is a mount I make on my Etsy store that keeps it securely on there. I'll have to redesign this a little bit now that I moved my bed back. None of this is accessible when my bed is down. Just some of my rechargeable string lights that I use at camp almost every time we're out camping. I'll link those down below. My midnight bathroom. I don't like getting out of my camper at night, so this is a lifesaver. Even if you're in a rooftop tent, this is a lifesaver. Also be linked. Just a simple bench I made. I've always debated on if I want to do cushions here or not. We'll see down the road. Right now, it doesn't really bother me any. Like I said, this is what I use the Molay panel for. I've got some magnetic snap-on lights I carry, and then some magnetic lights that I got from Lone Peak a while ago. And then just storage. There's actually some room underneath this bench here. If I lift it up, there's an empty spot there that I don't use. I used to keep some of my camping kitchen stuff there, but I don't anymore. I've been carrying around my Milwaukee blower for a while. It helps helps clean out inside here and also get dust off the camper when I need to. Harbor Freight towels. I designed a bracket I hang here. Let me know if you guys are interested in this. I can throw this up on my Etsy. This is a bracket I designed that keeps it, mounts it to this, keeps it right in line with the door so I can grab them from the outside, or if I'm inside and I don't want to reach down and grab them, I can just pick these up and drop them down this way, and then I have access to them here. But I usually just keep them upside down so I can grab them from the outside. Just keeps them there. Like I said, the Lone Peak table, some people use it, some people don't. I'm one of that doesn't. I ordered it when I got it because I thought I could use it. Technically, I could use it if I sit here. I don't know if you guys would be able to see, but this is basically perfect eating height. If I ever ate inside, but I don't eat inside. I don't even cook inside. The only thing I ever really cook inside is I boil water for oatmeal in the mornings if I get up before everybody else. I just have a speaker mounted here, and then my gun mount here whenever I need to. I always run a carbon monoxide alarm inside my camper at all times. I actually run two usually. I keep one down here that's always permanently mounted. Then I actually have one in one of my drawers that velcros right here, especially in wintertime when I'm running the diesel heater. This is just open storage. This is an REI bag I picked up on clearance for like $10. I keep all of my toiletries in here. And then I keep a butane stove. That's what I cook. If I'm boiling water, I actually use that inside. So I don't want to get out and run propane inside the camper. I've got 3 drawers here. This one houses all my cooking stuff, all my pots, pans, utensils, plates. I carry, this has just got all my spices in it. And then I carry some collapsible pots and pans. This is 2 pots and a pan and a kettle all in one. They're all collapsible silicone. There's 3 different items in there. And then this pan has, this pot has 2 pots, a bigger pot, a smaller pot. And then inside the smaller pot is 4 bowls and 4 cups. So it's basically a whole camp cooking and eating thing that all packs down to that small case. I also carry a cast iron. That's what I cook with 95% of the time, is a cast iron pan. Of quite heavy, but definitely worth it. It's weight in gold. And then I've got a few metal plates that I don't use very often. I don't like doing dishes when I don't have to, so most of the time I use paper plates and disposable silverware and just throw everything in the trash or in the fire if it's winter time. I keep all of my utensils in just a Ziploc bag. And they're all kind of lipped, so they stay put. I've never had that. And then these, I don't really carry much of anything. I carry my iCamper. I have an iCamper Disco that I absolutely hate. It's not a great product. Don't let anybody lie to you and say it is. Maybe the Scottle's better, but the iCamper one's trash. But their burner is good. I keep all of this stuff in here just for a second cook setup if I need to. And I have just some knives, and that's all I've really got in that drawer. I used to carry a lot more, but when the mice got in here, I basically took everything out of here and never put anything back. And sorry, I accidentally hit the test button on my carbon monoxide detector, which I have done in the middle of the night before. And then in my lower drawer, again, just a junk drawer, I keep a lighter. These are nice to keep around. I keep these in all my camping stuff. These are towels that are compressed down into little pills. I'm sure everybody has seen them before, but this right here is a wash rag. So you just put some water on it and they expand into a wash rag. I'll show you guys in a minute if you haven't seen them. They're super cheap. It's like $2 for 20 of them. I just keep them in there in case of emergencies if I need something. And this is my other bug zapper. This is what I used before I had that bigger one. But this does the same thing. So it's got a light, a lantern, and then it's got the bug light as well. Also rechargeable. It doesn't have a solar panel on top, but it just recharges with USB. This also works great. It's a lot lighter. I actually put mine up. That's where I rock it at nighttime while I have it running. And then I don't know if you guys can see, but up there is where I keep my fan. It's the highest point with a bar. It's got a bar clamp on it. It just clamps up there and runs the whole time I have my tent set up. It's got a USB-C on the back. I keep it plugged in, and I just keep it on high. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but let me put my barely has it. It's just a slight whisper of a noise. And underneath here is just a large drawer. This is where I keep the bug zapper, my thermosil, my fan, trash bags, and toilet paper, Lysol wipes, baby wipes, and then basically anything I need to possibly fix the camper is in here. Patches, patch kit, everything. Down below is all my power stuff. So below this drawer and behind this is where I keep all my power stuff. So my DC to DC charger, my inverter, my solar controller, my 200 amp hours of battery, my Renogy shunt controller. This is one thing I absolutely hate. It stays green when it lights up green when it's getting power or drawing power. So all night long this goes on and off as my fridge cycles. I've debated on pulling that out. I don't think there's a way to change that, but we'll see. I've got my Renogy just remote thing for my inverter that turns my inverter on, and then I've got two 120 plugs and some USB plugs ran off the inverter. I've got 4 USB plugs down here that are on switches for themselves. I always forget to turn them off. They don't draw any power. 2 12-volt sockets or cigarette sockets, and then I usually run everything with SAE plugs. So I've got 2 SAE plugs because 12 volt is just finicky and stuff falls out all the time. So I run 2 SAEs. That's what I used to run the diesel heater and all that stuff off of. And yeah, I think that's just about everything. Like I said, the table's nice. I'm going to have to figure it out. Oh, one thing I'm going to change. I want to put the fridge on a slider, a tilt slide, so I can access it from outside, because this is a pain to get into when it's here and when I'm not in the camper itself. And then this here was going to be a bench, but obviously the gear vault covers it, so it's kind of just a tabletop. Over here I keep my jack, all my poles for my awning, the disco tripod, and axe. I usually keep my shovel in there, but it's over there in case anybody needs to use the restroom. And then this is all wasted space here, so this is where I keep my Morphlate 4-tire, my 100% worthless disco top cook. I keep my fold flat fire pits. If you guys haven't seen those, they've been in a couple of my videos with some lava rocks. Keep an extra air hose in here, fire extinguisher, and then underneath all this I keep a full collapsible fishing setup so I can go fishing whenever I want. Always stays in the truck. And then behind this, where the wheel well is at, is where I keep my compressor, and I've got my compressor plumbed up to here. And As of right now, it's ran off my light bar switch. That'll change. You guys can see how bright these lights are. It's just ungodly at nighttime when you have anything on. So I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna make replacement buttons for this that take just the little stickers that like switch panels use, so you can label them whatever you want. We can black them out completely. If there's one big feedback for accessories, that's one thing that Kyle needs to look into is getting rid of this. None of these should be pre-labeled. It's kind of worthless if you don't have backlights or side lights from them, if you don't have the light bar, if you don't have the fan, if you don't have the heater, if you don't have the awning does nothing because they don't have an awning, and the way they have their wires switched are backwards of what it should be. They're switched negatives instead of switched powers. So I don't have my awning lights hooked up to that. One of these days I will, because I do have amber and white lights that I mounted on the bottom of my awning a couple years ago. But that's it. Let me show you guys what this does. I rock the Medic water jugs for my water. They're awesome. Wintertime, this actually is on removable things, so this will be removed, and I keep my water inside in the wintertime. But you guys will be able to see here, just takes a little tiny bit of water, and then that little tiny pill turns into a washcloth. And they, like I said, they take up like no space when they're all packed away. But yeah, and then I just use a portable toilet when I need to. So one perk of having a camper is if it's cold outside, or if I don't want to set up my shower awning, I can just poop inside. And I'm actually in the middle of designing a shower tub for in here for wintertime, so I can shower with the geyser in winter and not be freezing cold and take a nice warm shower inside. But I'll keep you guys updated on that. And then yeah, I always carry 5 pounds of propane with me. And I usually have a 20-pound with me as well for when I want to run the fire pit. And then this is the biggest freezer, the 65 DZ, so 65 liter that Ironman makes. It's been a great fridge. It's probably the most inexpensive for this size that comes already with the thermal blanket and everything on it. I've never had any issues with this. Their app also sucks majorly. One thing that the Lone Peak Juice Box, the app for the Juice Box is awesome. I've never had an issue with it connecting. I do hate that you have to reconnect every time you open the app, but it's not a huge deal because it's the only one around that it links to. So yeah, if you guys got any questions, let me know in the comments, or hit me up on Facebook or Instagram or whatever you guys want, up on Etsy. Appreciate all you guys. Everything I showed in this video will be linked down in the description. The whole interior, by the way, is built out of 2020 extruded aluminum. It's extremely cheap on Amazon. I'll also link that, and it's super easy to work with if you know how to use Connects or Lincoln Logs or whatever. I mean, it's super simple. I use just a chop saw to get straight cuts, and everything just uses little T-nuts and screws and brackets to bolt everything together. So I had no plans for this. I built this is basically flush with my wheel well. And I wanted as much room as possible here. And then I'm actually, if you guys haven't seen, I'll post a picture right here of the first build I did with this when I originally ordered the camper back in 2020, 2022, I think it was, or 2021, 2022. I did a full interior of this made with plywood, super nice drawers and a tabletop that came up and folded down. And I decided, like, after a year of waiting, that I didn't want it in the back of my truck anymore, so I ripped it all out because it was pretty heavy. And then when I finally got confirmation of the camper, I built the whole interior out of the extruded aluminum, which shaved a lot of weight, but isn't as versatile as building everything straightly out of plywood.
Good morning, guys. Beautiful day. It never actually cooled down yesterday. It was in the mid 70s all night long. I've never really ran into that, even with my fan on. It was a pretty toasty evening. Anywho, yes, mattress review. It's more comfortable than the Lone Peak, and it's definitely more comfortable than my X-Bed. But I wouldn't say it's the most comfortable mattress for bigger people, especially side sleepers. You sink right through the mattress. But I woke up with just a little bit of back pain this morning versus my back absolutely killing me. So I'll call that a win. One thing I wanted to show you guys before I end the video is I went to go use, I know in the video I did yesterday, I said I don't really use the gear vault table. Well, I dropped it down this morning because my brother and his kids were still sleeping, and I was eating my breakfast. And when I opened it, I noticed the hinge is broken. Like I said, I've never used the table. I set it up when I first got it to show it in the first original video, but I've never used it since then. And I didn't notice it, but it looks like somebody missed with their screwdriver. It popped off the screws and nailed the table. I'm not worried about that, but I am a little frustrated with the hinge there. It looks like it's a cast hinge. I'm gonna reach out to Keisha to see if I can get a replacement hinge or where I can order one. Um, I'd assume they're just basic cabinet hinges. Screws are definitely not flush. There's definitely pretty large edges on them. Um, you can probably build a table for a lot cheaper than they charge to put one on here. So I wouldn't say it's worth it for most people. Could be worth it for some. If I was to do it again, I would not be ordering it with the table on the gear bolt. Other than that, though, I'll post some pictures and videos at the end of this video. We had a pretty awesome sunset last night. The stars were out real bright. I got some pictures of the Milky Way with the northern lights kind of peeking through at the bottom. They're a little grainy. They're with my phone. I didn't have my tripod with me, so I kind of just rigged something up. So they're not the best pictures, but they're pretty okay. And definitely had a beautiful sunrise this morning as well. So I'll post some photos of that as well. But other than that, we're gonna get packed up here. My brother's making breakfast for his kids, and then we'll probably head out and head home. So I'll catch you guys on the next one. Appreciate all you guys. Don't forget, like, subscribe, share the video. Once we get to 1,000 subs, we'll be doing the giveaway for basically everything we sell for the Lone Peak Camper. So appreciate all you guys, and I'll see you next time.